Okay, let's begin the class. You may record, do the recording, please. And so today we're going to continue, and this page here explains to you the pattern of trade in the past. The main point here is with the manufactured goods that came out from factories. We call it manufactured goods. So in the past, then manufactured goods were going one way only, mostly one way. Manufactured goods going one way. The exports came from developed countries, developed economies. You know, developed like USA, Europe, came from developed economies. They went to developing countries that way. I mean, the relationship between developed country and developing countries at that time, as far as the manufactured goods are concerned, the exports came from developed countries, went to developing countries, one way only, that way. On the other hand, for the developing countries to purchase the manufactured goods, developing countries exported commodities. So that kind of traffic from developed countries to developing manufactured goods, from developing to developed countries, commodities. So that's how it was, the pattern of trade. But now, the pattern of trade, the manufactured goods, the traffic are now both ways, from developed to developing countries and also from developing to developed countries. Whereas the commodities, developing countries must export commodities to developed countries in order to have money to buy developing the manufactured goods. So that's then one way. Now there's no longer one way for manufactured goods. We're talking here manufactured goods, goods that come out from manufacturing sector. In the past, one way. Now, many ways, two ways, and also multiple ways, many ways, and multiple stages too. How are there two ways? Now, if you can imagine here, on the left is developed countries, on the right is developing countries. The exports of manufactured goods come now from developed, going to developing countries, and also the manufactured goods also come from developing countries going to developed countries. Two ways. And also multiple ways also, because of course since the beginning, trade among developed countries, the rich countries, they are trading among each other. So multiple ways already for trade among developed countries. Now, multiple ways not only among developed countries, but among together developing countries also, they're trading each other with each other among developing countries. the less developed countries, well, we call it developing countries. The already rich, developed. Okay, you have to know the definition. Developed, developing. Now, among developing countries also, they're trading with each other also, as far as manufactured goods are concerned. And still, they continue to export commodities to the developed economies. So what happened today is a blurring, not clear, blurring of specialization between industrial economies and developing economies, because more and more developing economies are now becoming exporters of manufactured goods. That began with Japan joined the developed countries, and then followed by Korea, for example, became an exporter of manufactured goods. Korea was a developing countries at that time, and now can be considered already developed, on the verge of a developed country. So because why the blurring? The blurring because blurring of what? Specialization. Because many developing countries now, including Malaysia, are exporters of manufactured goods. And multiple ways among developing countries, among developed countries, and multiple stages as well. Stages like a computer. Computer is a finished product. Let's take the semiconductor. At early stage, it was made in Vietnam, for example. One stage of the semiconductor is made in Vietnam and shipped to Malaysia to finish the production in Malaysia for the semiconductor, and that semiconductor shipped to China to go into a computer notebook made in China, or shipped to other parts of the world, like to Korea, to go into the handphone. I'm just giving a sort of hypothetical example when I'm trying to show you stages. What is stages? Products are not made completely at one place or in one country. Products that you see in the world today, they are made at every stage of the production at different country, in different country, different location. Even a car. Maybe not as elaborate compared with the electronics. Electronics, there are stages. And now the last one. In the past, well, I should say this. When it comes to the discussion about FDI, foreign direct investment, we compare with trade. There are two views based on the neoclassical mainstream economics. The theory says, economic theory says, modern economic theories, or what we call it, mainstream economic theory says FDI and international trade are substitute to each other. Substitute. That's the mainstream economics. Neoclassical economics. Substitute. It means that if you do trade, you do not need to do FDI. If you do FDI, you do not need to do trade. They are substitute. But in reality, we see that's not the case. The world doesn't work like the neoclassical theory says. The reality is that if there is FDI, there's going to be more trade. As a result, we take the other school of thought, which is structuralist. Here.
Morning, Professor.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Nothing. Did we start our lecture?
Yeah, already.
Okay.
Long time ago. You just
Yes.
joined.
Yes, I just joined.
Yeah, we started since 8:15.
Okay.
So you seeing this on the screen?
Yes, I only saw your selfie.
See what?
I mean, I only see your picture now.
Oh, I did not share the screen.
Okay.
That's why. please someone tell me. All this while I've been doing the lecture without sharing the slide. So please help me, because
Okay.
everyone there, since for the past 20 minutes, I've been lecturing only showing my face. I thought I was showing the slide. This is the disadvantage of MS Teams. I cannot know what you're seeing.
Yes. I just came here and I thought you were just taking attendance or something, or you have not started the lecture. It's okay.
I hope that people will tell me that with the screen, I see only your face. So this is the weakness of human weakness. Then, and also the technology does not tell. This MS Team, there should be a corner here, tell what the other people are seeing. This, I should be sharing this. I've been talking. I thought I share.
Yes.
So what are you seeing now? Tell me what do you see?
International
Okay, I
trip
can see your
foreign
content now.
Please read to me. What do you see? Please read.
Neoclassical
Okay.
mainstream economists.
Yes. I was here. So all this I explained for the past 20 minutes. Can someone tell me that I'm just talking by myself without the slides? So we cannot repeat this. I need your cooperation, that you help me. Oh, Professor, you forgot to share. Because if you see me talking, there is already the slide on it. I'm not talking when I say start the recording. I'm not talking above the air. I'm talking with a slide. So that's how. Okay, this is what I was explaining. The pattern of trade then and the pattern of trade now. So I'm repeating again. The pattern of trade at that time, we're concerned about the manufactured goods. The manufactured goods. And just now what I was typing is already here. I was just typing for you. So because, to make sure you got the English understanding well, I type it. Yeah. The classical mainstream economics, what is it? Substitute. I want to make sure that you get this word, substitute, so I type it. And that I was already here. So this slide explains to you the pattern of trade, international trade, long time ago and now. We're concerned here about the manufactured goods, goods that come up from the manufacturing sector. Then, long time ago, before 1980s, before mid-80s, manufactured goods were mainly one way. The traffic was one way. The traffic exports came from developed countries going to developing countries. And you have to know the difference. Developed countries, developing countries. Okay. This I'm making this note for you to understand. The classification of countries or economies. Now we have this is now. In the past, they have this high income, upper middle income, lower middle income, and low income. Low income, they call it less developed countries. That's how the classification exactly that is. You see the middle income there, upper and lower. Malaysia has always been upper middle income. Korea was upper middle income, same with Malaysia in 1985, about 2,000 US dollar per capita GDP. Malaysia 2,000, Korea 2,000, but Malaysia still stuck in that upper middle income, or still the middle income, and Korea is already high income. Now they're using this developed economies, emerging economies, and developing economies. Emerging is those are emerging, performing well from developing economies. So these emerging economies in the past, another one.
Okay. Is this the full text format?
So this, after the collapse of the former Soviet Union, no more Soviet Union, many republics from the Soviet Union became independent. So World Bank at that time had this another category added: countries in transition. Transition from the socialist economy to the market economy, from communism to, of course, to Western democracy. So mainly on economics is from socialism to market-oriented economy. So World Bank call it countries in transition after 1991, after the collapse of Soviet Union. These are the categories. So you have to understand all this for me to go over the note, which is our note here. So we're talking about here the pattern of trade among developed countries and developing countries. Developed countries or economies with developing countries. Silent on this in emerging economies, countries in transition, because we want to talk more in general. In general, in the world, we can divide the world by two. In general, developed countries, USA, Europe, Japan already, and developing countries, Malaysia, Thailand, and so on. Developed and developing. So now the pattern of trade that we're discussing is the manufactured goods. That movement of manufactured goods was one way up to mid-80s. After mid-80s, one way, which way? From developed countries going to developing countries. Manufactured goods. So, developing countries, in order to buy manufactured goods from developed countries, in order to buy, developing countries must export commodities. So the pattern was this way. Manufactured goods, if you imagine on the left is the developed countries, on the right is developing countries. So the movement, manufactured goods on the top. If I draw the picture, at the bottom is commodities, coming from developing to developed. So as far as manufactured goods, the picture on the top, one way only, from developed going to developing countries. But now, since mid-80s, with developing countries, for example, Korea, Malaysia as well, China as well, and many countries, other countries, developing countries, began became also countries that manufacture, that produce, and also export manufactured goods. So the products of manufactured goods, the exports, of manufactured goods were beginning and are until today two ways. Products of manufactured goods exported from developed countries to developing countries, one way. The other way also, developing countries export manufactured goods to developed countries. So as far as our focus now in this slide focus on manufactured goods. Then, long ago, before mid-80s, one way. Now, two ways. The manufactured goods export. Like this, two ways. While developing countries continue to export commodities. Two ways. And indeed, multiple ways. Multiple ways. Now, two ways. Manufactured goods. Developed to developing. Also from developing to developed economies. But also multiple ways. In the past, already multiple ways among developed economies. They export and import among each other. Now, developing economies also. Multiple ways. Many, many ways. Among themselves also. Among developing economies. Malaysia to Thailand, Thailand to Malaysia. Malaysia to China, China to Malaysia. Malaysia to, so many, many ways. Including the one that mentioned earlier, going to developed economies, Malaysia to United States, Malaysia to Europe, and also Europe to Malaysia, United States to Malaysia. So multiple ways. What happened? There's a blurring of specialization between industrial economies, which is developed economies. When we say this, that's the meaning. We're talking about the same thing. Industrial economies, developed economies. Hi. So blurring of specialization among industrial economies and developing economies because of that. Two ways and also multiple ways, and the last one here, multiple stages. Products are not made entirely from A to Z in one country. A good example is semiconductor. At one stage, this semiconductor is prepared in Vietnam, shipped to Malaysia, to finish in Malaysia, the chips, the microchips. Some of the components come from Japan, some components come from Korea, from America, mixed together with the parts partially finished from Vietnam, come to Malaysia and finished in Malaysia for microchips only, and then sent to Japan or Korea, sent to China, back again to go into the computer PC or computer notebook. So multiple stages. And last, in our point here, we're talking about FDI and international trade. So that's how I began my note today on this right here, right here. international trade vis-a-vis foreign direct investment, or simply FDI. Okay. Then the last point in our bullet is the relationship between FDI and international trade. According to neoclassical, which is mainstream economics, the theory says international trade and FDI are substitute to each other. Substitute means if you do trade, you do not need to do FDI. If you do FDI to that country, you don't need to trade your product. So that's mainstream economics based on neoclassical economics. They are substitute to each other. However, in reality, we see that the more FDI, the more trade will be there, will follow. The more FDI, the more trade will follow. So, structuralist view that we take here to explain the reality rather than the pure, hardcore and cold mainstream economics theory saying that it is or they are substitute to each other. No, reality, they complement each other. So it's complementarity. What is complement? Coffee and tea. More coffee, more tea. No. Coffee and sugar. Coffee and sugar. They complement each other. You need more coffee, you need more sugar. Coffee and tea may be substitute. Maybe. For those who drink coffee only, they don't like tea. For those who drink tea only, they will not drink coffee. Coffee they think is bad for kidney, I don't drink coffee, I drink tea. Because I think coffee is not healthy. I think. I'm not sure medically. So there are substitute, coffee and tea. But coffee and sugar and milk, they complement each other. More coffee, more sugar, more milk. Same. Tea also, more tea, more sugar, maybe more milk. They complement each other. What else? I cannot think of it now. Okay. So in this case, we take the structuralist view. More FDI going all over the world, that will generate more trade. Because why? FDI, you bring your component there, you export already products, component, machinery from your country to that country. You need also materials. Some of the materials will come from the host country, the place that you are operating. Some of the materials, many of the components will have to come from outside of the country. So there's going to be more imports. And then you produce, you export. Because the local market may not be enough, so small, so you export. Therefore, more FDI, more trade, they complement each other. And then, after the end of the World War II, the trend is that output, we compare now the rate of growth of international trade, we compare with world economic output. Between 70s, mid-70s, and 1980s, export increased 9 times. Export of goods and services. Whereas output, world economy, increased only by 5 times. So there's another fact you must know between if I can go quickly, I have a picture, but I can go back to the World Economic Outlook, IMF. Let's try this. Okay, for your information, IMF has this publication. I go back to this because I photocopy at that time, and I had it on plastic transparency about 25 years ago, and a long time ago we all use plastic, transparency plastic, and we put on the machine and can show. So I photocopy, I made this, and I got a picture from here. This world This is emerging. Okay, remember this publication is in 1997. At that time, they were still using emerging market economies. They're already using emerging market countries, world and advanced economies. This is IMF naming how they name it: advanced economies, developed economies, industrial economies. This is world industrial production. Of course, emerging market is higher. Yes, the picture. This picture I want to show. Alhamdulillah, you can see it. Yes, I think I remember from this. I photocopy and I cut it, put together, and oh yeah, some of them I put together from other graph inside this book, and photocopy once again and transfer that into a plastic. We call it plastic transparency. We did not have PowerPoint at that time. No PowerPoint yet, no technology of such. That was in 1994 when I began at UKM, 1994. Yeah, this is the most important that I want to show so that you understand. See, this is world real GDP. Real means constant price. The growth. And this is growth what? Growth of international trade or world trade, say international trade. I want to show you how the ups and downs. This is world economic growth on the left. Yes. 73 first oil shock, 79 second oil shock. Okay, 73 because of oil shock, the economy went down below the average of 1970, 1996, below average, just about 1 point something here, not even 2%, and this is about 1%. First oil shock 73, second oil shock 79, and enter the 1990s. 1990s, you must remember, the lost decade of Japan. Later on, first oil shock 73, look at negative, not negative, reduction in world economic growth. Second oil shock, reduction in economic growth. Second oil shock 1979. What is oil shock? Increase in the oil prices of oil. The shock is so big, that's what we call shock, the increase. That would increase the cost of production in the industrial countries. They needed oil to run the factories. Cost of oil increased, the price, and cost of production increased. That translated into inflation. The world in 1970s were known for high inflation. Inflation, yes. 73, first oil shock. Inflation. And come down. 73, first. 79. Once again, this is second oil shock. Another inflation. That was high. In developing countries, the median. 16, 17, about 16.5% for the median, very high. And the more important story I want to tell here, number one, there is a same pattern between world economic growth and international trade, the growth. This is international trade. They follow the same pattern. International trade went up, world economy went up. International trade goes down, the rate of growth, world economy also goes down. International trade goes up, world economy also goes up. Positive correlation between international trade growth and world economic growth. Positive correlation. They follow exactly the way each other. Which one? It is a question of chicken and egg. Okay. If there's no egg, no chicken. If no chicken, no egg. No egg, no chicken. No chicken, no egg. So we're confused. Which one? Is it chicken first or egg first? Is it egg first, chicken first? Confused. So empirical studies have shown that trade first. Trade is the engine of economic growth. More trade, more growth. Higher international trade growth rate, world economy will expand, will become higher. Lower the rate of growth, decrease in the rate of growth of world trade or international trade, the lower will be the growth of the world economy. So trade is the engine. Trade good, world economy is good. Trade is bad, world economy is going to be bad. That's number one. Number two, you notice that this fluctuation, the extent, how much the fluctuation with international trade or world trade is higher. Look at this, almost 12% positive. This is above 8%. Even negative is, negative. More than 1% negative. So the fluctuation up and down, up and down, up and down is bigger with world trade compared with the world economy. So look at the world economy is not even 8%. Goes down this much only, not that much big up and down with regard to the world trade. Why? This world trade is even more dynamic. The changes can come, can occur, can happen faster compared with world economy. That's why it can change at higher latitude or negative lower latitude. Bigger fluctuation than world growth. Because world economy is something so big. when something so big, it cannot changes. It cannot change. Sorry, it cannot change much, or it cannot change rapidly. It is less fluid. You know, fluid. Water. Water is fluid, right? Less fluid compared with trade. Trade can change because of many things. Can be weather, can be something a war, can be disruption of catastrophe like a natural disaster, pandemic like COVID-19. But that's a different story. We don't have time to discuss that because there are other complications because stoppage, lockdown, factories are closed, everything is closed, so there's not even much products to export anyway. Except during the pandemic COVID-19, who made a lot of money? Companies that sell computers and gadgets, because lockdown, people need to stay home, everything, class online, shopping online, so computer chips were in high demand, notebook computer, phone and so on in high demand, but the production stops, lockdown. So that's a different story, and a very unique situation at that time. So this, okay, let me finish with what I said earlier. 1970s, because of the two oil shock, this will come later in our notes below. I think I should wait until below, but I just mentioned just now, inflation and 1980s debt. Many countries are debt, so the 1980s are known as a debt decade. 70s inflation decade, 80s debt decade, 1990s so-called the lost decade of Japan. But it turns out that Japan until today having that lost of decade. Sluggish growth, slow growth in Japan. Among the reasons is less number of working population. Senior citizen. Japan has one of the oldest population in the world. 29%, 29 point something percent of Japan's population today are 65 and above. 29, almost 30%, almost 1/3 of Japanese people are 65 and older. So you can imagine, you go to Japan, you take a train, subway, you see many old people off office hour. During office hour, there are many young people working. In Korea too, take the train during after office hour, you see many old people, and you don't see many children. Difficult to see. Japan and Korea has one of the biggest problem, one of the lowest low birth rate. China now is beginning to have this low birth rate. So now the one child policy has now been changed in China. The government wants women to stay home, and you get the money for having children. They want more than one now, 2, 3. That's the latest in China. So we're talking about aging society. Japan, Korea, China, Malaysia beginning. But seriously, in Japan, almost 1/3 of the population is almost 1/3 of the population is those are those in the category of 65 and above. So that explain one of the reason for the sluggish low economic growth in Japan, 0.1, 0.2, 0.1 since 1990s. We're talking about 1990s until now. We were thinking only for that decade only, in 1990s only. No, continue. Let's go back. This trend of after the World War II ended, world economic growth really soaring high means that the world has become integrated, interdependent on each other, the countries. And these are the three factors why 1950 to 73. So we take a break here. 1950, 73. You must know World War II ended in 1945, August. Okay, and then this is our topic after the break. Golden years of world economic growth, which is because of rapid growth in international trade. I'm afraid you think IT, not IT. Or simply world trade, also world same world. Don't get confused, it's not division, it's the same thing. (1950 to 1973). These are the golden years. Why? We'll explain this after the break. So we take a 9:36, 9:40. We come back 9:40. So golden years of world economy, after the end of World War II. Not immediately 45, not immediately 46, 47, 49, but beginning from 1950, because after the war you need some time for the economy to pick up. So from 1950 to 73, it was the golden years of world economy, and also together with it the golden years of international trade. World economy and international trade, both golden years of those. World economy, as we heard from me, if you heard from me, trade is engine of growth. Higher trade, higher the rate of growth of trade, the higher the economy will be. Trade as engine of growth. So the golden years of 1950 to 73 because of international trade. Rapid growth in international trade. Why? There are three reasons. Number one, after the war, reconstruction and development. Trade became rapid, increased rapidly because of the need between the two countries. The need of two countries. Developing countries needed to buy industrial products, manufactured products, manufactured goods for consumption, as well as industrial products, machineries for reconstruction, to rebuild bridges, roads damaged by the war. Developing countries did not have the technology and capital to make all those lorries, heavy machinery, tractors, to build again the infrastructure. Developing countries needed to import all those machinery and heavy vehicles for construction, as well as manufactured goods for consumption. So that's why they import and export. So exports of machinery, heavy vehicles from developed countries to developing countries. Sorry. Export of heavy machinery, industrial products, and manufactured goods from developed to developing countries. At the same time, developed countries needed the raw materials and also semi-finished products and commodities from developing countries, and they import those from developing countries. So as a result of reconstruction after the war, international trade grew very, very rapidly, with the result of the world economy increased. The rate of growth of world economy increased. Second factor is the fixed exchange rate system under the Bretton Woods system. What is Bretton Woods? So that was the conference among this Mount Washington Hotel. Look out the window. It's raining. Yeah, it is raining. Sorry, I look out the window. So right here, in the US, before the end of World War II, we see the next what I'm going to show you. I think is we checked that 44 countries attended the conference. These 44 countries are countries that were allied countries. They were already planning. They were already planning for a global international financial structure, anticipating the end of World War II. What is going to be the way the financial transaction in the world, how are they governed, and also trade, how they are governed. Even before the war ended in 45, already in 1944, they already met and planned what's going to be those international financial and trade structure, organization for the world. They met in New Hampshire, United States. This New Hampshire. This Mount Washington here. This is Bretton Woods. Back in 1989 at that time. 1989 or 1988. Maybe 1988. I went to this. Actually, I wanted to go to Mount Washington. I drove my car up to Mount Washington, and there's a sticker. Usually in the US, there's a car sticker. This car climbs Mount Washington. You know, it's kind of pride that this car can go up to Mount Washington. So I was not dressed well. I regret until today. I did not go inside. I regret so much. I did not go inside. I just
Do you have a picture, Professor?
At that time, no phone, right? No email. I'm talking about 1988. I don't know whether I have a picture. So
Okay.
I remember parking my car here. Yeah, I parked my car here. Here at the this at the end of this, near the grass here, at the parking lot. I parked my car here. I did not go inside. A very historic place. If I went there, I would have been able to share with you now. I did not know at that time I would become a lecturer. I did not know at that time I would become work in a university and teaching, teaching international economics. If I, I should have go inside and can share with you. Park the car here only because I was not dressed well. I was embarrassed. Was using only jogging suit because I came from mountain. Well, not really jogging suit. Not, yeah, I mean, not fit to go into a hotel. So I regret that. So that was Bretton Woods. Who met there? Yes, I'm correct. 44 countries. Gather there to regulate the international monetary and financial order after the end of World War II, which is from July 1 to 22, 1944. That's what I'm saying. Even before the Second World War II ended in August 1945, they already met before the war ended to plan for a structure, for the order, what kind of structure for the international monetary and financial, and also what they came out from there is these two things. IBRD, International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and the other one is IMF. The IBRD now becomes World Bank, and in fact IBRD, the father at that time, becomes the son today of under World Bank. The father becomes a son. What am I saying? I'm trying to say to you, the IBRD that was born in Bretton Woods in 1944 now is the World Bank. And in fact, IBRD still exists until today as a unit under World Bank. That's what I mean by father became a son. The son became the father today, World Bank. Well, there was no such son. The name changed from IBRD, the name changed from IBRD becomes World Bank. But IBRD still exists until today as a small unit. I shouldn't say small, as a unit under World Bank. And so the result of Bretton Woods Conference was the creation of World Bank and IMF that we have today. Who was the man? John Maynard Keynes. You know, you study in class macroeconomics. You study about Keynesian economics, how government expenditure will help reduce unemployment. That's Keynesian economics. This is the man. He was the Secretary of Treasury, or simply today we call it Minister of Finance of the UK. And Dexter White, this is US. This is the US, and this is John Maynard Keynes. He died collapsed. So Keynesian economics. Death, yes. Throughout his life, Keynes worked energetically for the benefit of both the public and his friends. Even when his health was poor, he labored to sort out the finances of his whole college, helping up the Bretton Woods system. He worked to institute an international monetary system, which is IMF today, and World Bank, that would be beneficial for the world economy. In 1946, Keynes suffered a serious heart attack, which ultimately proved fatal. He collapsed because of heart attack. They began during negotiation for the Anglo, which is English, American loan, where he was trying to secure favorable terms for the UK from the United States, a process is described as absolute hell. A few weeks after that, he died of heart attack. I wanted to bring to you the story of death, because according to this writing here, after the end of World War II, in 1946, he went to Georgia, United States, to negotiate for the UK, for the loan, the UK from the US, to get a favorable term. So I wanted to bring back to the conference. This one from July 1st to July 22. For 23 days they met in New Hampshire. I imagine this John Maynard Keynes, very hardworking. I imagine he slept 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning every night. He worked so hard to negotiate to come up with this global system. Every day, I imagine, slept late, and finally in 1946, he's been working hard, sleeping late at night. He collapsed. So, go back to what our lecture is talking about. This is fixed exchange rate under the Bretton Woods system. And that fixed exchange rate system was there after the end of World War II, because the agreement was reached in Bretton Woods in 1944. By the end of World War II, 1945, there was Bretton Woods system of fixed exchange rate. Why it is so important? Fixed. The important word here is fixed. Fixed translated into very rapid international trade. Because of fixed exchange rate system, world or international trade grew rapidly because of certainty. Without a fixed exchange rate, there were uncertainties, or there are going to be uncertainties in terms of what exporters will be getting for their export and what importers will be paying for their imports. Uncertainty because changes. For example, suppose exchange rate is not fixed. Today, exchange rate is $3. 3 ringgit equals to $1. 3 ringgit. Last week, it was 250. I'm just making an example, okay? Or 280. Today, 3 ringgit. I'm not sure. Maybe next week will be 350. Oh, that's fine. What happens if it's not going to go up to 350? What happens if today 3 ringgit for 1 USD? I'm afraid it's going to be not 3 ringgit but 2 ringgit. I'm going to lose. Suppose I export 100 ringgit to United States. Just simple example. 100 ringgit. 100 USD. 100 US dollar. I export my product. $100. That $100 today, when I exchange to ringgit, I'll get 3 ringgit. 300. That 100 becomes 300 ringgit Malaysia. What happens if tomorrow or next week, if the transaction is recorded at a time, and I go to I go to the bank and the exchange next week, it's 1 ringgit. So that $100 now has reduced to not 300, 1/3. That $100 becomes 100 only. See, today $100 is 300 ringgit. $100 equals 300 ringgit. Next week, $100. So I get my 100. So export I export the product, I get paid 100 US dollar. When the money I get, I go to the bank in Malaysia, that $100, I don't get 300 ringgit because the exchange rate next week when I get the money, exchange rate is going to be 1 ringgit only. So that 1 ringgit to US dollar. So I get only 1 ringgit, not 300 ringgit. And if this is the case to me and to many other people, other exporters, people waiting, looking, okay, looking. Oh, wait. Let's wait until next week. Let's wait until, after 2 days, maybe currency will be better. So if that's going to be the case, if that would be the case, world trade will not grow.
You got $100 next week.
Yeah, and I get only 100 ringgit, not 300.
You know, I'm so happy, Professor. Last time I got 200 USD, and I'm so happy about that.
Yep.
I love USD.
Of course. Well, wait until many countries are not going to be using dollar. But that's going to be a remote and a long future. Because the world still continue to use dollar. So you need some kind of fixed exchange rate system in the world to facilitate trade, to help trade become rapid, increase rapidly. So because of this, under the Bretton Woods system, they have this system using US dollar as the currency for reserve at the central bank of each country. And that USD is fixed, the value in terms of gold. So every country that participated in this Bretton Woods system would use US dollar as the reserve at their respective central bank. And you are holding the US dollar in your central bank. Every $35 that you hold, you keep. It means you have a gold of 1 ounce of real gold. Real gold. Every $35, 1 ounce of gold. And then fix other currencies in dollar terms based on this. So the impact was stabilized exchange rates. As a result, that led to rapid growth in international trade. And again, bring back what we said earlier, trade as engine of economic growth. Chicken and egg, remember? Trade as engine of economic growth. That's why we seeing 1950 to 73 golden years of the world economy, as well as golden years of international trade. Not immediately after the war, because need time to pick up. from 50. And this fixed exchange rate system did not last long, ended in 73. Why? President Nixon, United States, was saying in 1971 that the US could no longer back up the money that the US owed to other countries, cannot back up that money with real gold anymore. Cannot. Why? Trade deficit. Even at that time in 1970 or early 70s, already United States twin deficits, which is trade and fiscal deficit. Trade is because of everyone, not only consumers, not only government, consumers as well. Is import is larger than export. That's trade deficit. Fiscal deficit has got to do with government only. Fiscal, only government. Government expenditure is bigger than government revenue. This is what happened to United States. The twin deficit. In 1980s, blamed on Japan. The trade deficit. In 1990s, United States blamed on China. Now, US blame this on China. Because this is what United States trade deficit because of you, Japan. Now trade deficit because of you, China. So because of this deficit, because deficit, trade deficit means United States owe other countries money, and that money is a liability that you owe. If these countries wanted to get the money, the US must back that up with gold, real gold, to pay. For example, I have $35 in my pocket. $35. Hey US, hey America, I don't want your money. Here your money, $35. I'm making a drama, okay? Here, $35. Give me 1 ounce of gold. You owe me 1 ounce of gold. But actually, not only 35. When we talk about trade deficits, billions of dollars trade deficit. So how can you imagine how many ounces, how many pounds, ounce, pound? This is an imperial, a metric will be gram, kilogram. The imperial, how many pounds of gold must be backed up by United States, prepared to pay. Nixon said, we can no longer do that. 1971. And this system with US dollar as currency, reserve currency, backed up by gold, could no longer sustain. Ended completely in 1973 with the happenings of another happenings that happened at that time, the oil shock. The price of oil increased very rapidly because of the war between Arab countries and the Zionist Israel. The war happened in 73 that led to OPEC, oil producer, to reduce oil production. Oil crisis, energy price, food shortages, and increase in the cost of production, increase in inflation. 73. Wow, that was the picture. Sorry, no gas, no petrol. Malaysia use the word petrol. In America, they call it gas. It's not gas, it's gasoline. Gasoline for car. So short gas. It's not gas for heating, for kitchen, no, for car. Gasoline. That was 1973. Now 1979. Again, one more time. Because of the war, now terminal major. Okay, this is again not about Iran. It's happened in Middle East also, the war. What caused the 79? Oh, was told Iranian production. Oh yes, I remember. This 73, really the war between Arab and the Zionist Israel, trying to occupy Palestine and to invade, part of Mount Sinai in Egypt. The Sinai Golden Heights. Heights, not golden. Sinai Heights. That war, And 1979 got to do with the Shah Iran. United States were trying to depose Shah Iran, the so-called king at that time of Iran, to depose. And there was a clash between Iran and United States. Another story. So we don't have time for that. So the two oil shock, 73 and 79. So already the first oil shock, 73, this fixed exchange rate system ended. Make no mistake, the Bretton Woods institutions are existing until today. World Bank and IMF until today. What ended only the fixed exchange rate system. No more after 73. So many different types of today. Floating, free floating, managed floating, crawling peg, and many others. However, that fixed exchange rate already became a contributor to the golden years of the world economy in 1950, but ended in 73. Ended in 73 here, ended. This is 73, finished. The golden years. Why? After 73, nosedive, going down. After 73. Got it? So, the end of the golden years. 73. Again, you have to know Bretton Woods system. This will come up later in our topic, the difference between IMF and World Bank. Quickly, IMF for short term.
I think World Bank has more data.
For development. Okay. IMF is for short-term loans only. To cure the shocks like high inflation, shortfall in the reserve, trade deficit, and so on, to cater to solve the problem, to stabilize the economy. Whereas World Bank sorry, for development, to build schools, bridges, dams. You don't get the result today. You build school today with a loan from World Bank. You don't get result tomorrow. It's long term. You build dam for hydroelectric. It's not finished in one day. The project. It takes maybe 1 year to finish the whole. And the benefit is electricity for the country or for the region. So it's long-term kind of thing. So that's the difference between IMF and World Bank. World Bank, the loan, IMF will be like period 1 to 2 years only. And can be up to 5 years. But World Bank, the loan is for 10 years, 20 years, long term. And the third factor was the gap. Reduction in trade barriers. It was proposed at that time International Trade Organization. It was proposed this one. International Trade, ITO. ITO was proposed but did not materialize, did not happen because the Congress in the United States did not ratify, did not want to sign it. So ITO never happened. As a result, GATT. General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade became a de facto this is a French or Latin word always used in English. Because of this, not available, so ITO was proposed. ITO did not materialize, never happened. So the existing, what has been there already, available already, which is General Agreement on Tariff and Trade, became a de facto system that organized trading system, for the world at that time. Use what has been available, GATT already available. So GATT was a agreement, general agreement. I want to emphasize the word agreement because later on GATT has been replaced by WTO. In 1995. So what was GATT? Many rounds of GATT. Why agreement? I emphasize. GATT was not an institution. Not. WTO, which we have today, that began in 1995, is an institution. GATT was only an agreement, but really countries are bound When you sign, you are bound by law to follow, to abide to the law, to the letters of the law, because you signed it. An agreement is a multilateral I taught this year the meaning of multi. Bi is two people, bilateral relation, Malaysia and China. Bilateral, trilateral. Uh, usually not in politics, not in international relations. Maybe we can talk about trade because people, countries do not really engage except there's an agreement. Tri means three, trilateral. Korea, US, and Japan. Yes, there is Korea, US, and Japan. Trilateral agreement. Trilateral something. Of course, not including China, because to the United States, China is a competitor. So always United States will try to get Japan and Korea. But the relations between Korea and Japan is complicated because of the Japanese occupation of Korea from 1910 until 1945. 35 years of Japanese colonization of Korea. That's why there was always up and down relations between Korea and Japan. But I was trying to tell you what the meaning of trilateral. So this GET is not trilateral, it's not bilateral, it is multilateral. Many countries negotiated to do what? To reduce tariffs. First thing to do, all non-tariff, which is, we're talking about the major one, all quotas must be changed to become tariff, and then negotiated these tariffs. And then negotiate and then to go down. Multilateral negotiation to reduce tariff. so many rounds of GATT. From 1947, Geneva round. So GATT was launched in 1947. Roughly 2 years or 1 year, because World War II ended in August 45. Roughly 1 year, some months, 1.5 years after the end of World War II, GATT was launched. The existing already there GATT, but GATT became the mechanism for trade liberalization to reduce tariffs, with rounds of negotiation: Geneva round, NC round, Turkey round, Geneva again, Dylan round, Kennedy round, Tokyo round, and last one was Uruguay round. But this Uruguay round never finished, never completed. Launched in 1986. Never completed because of the fight between developed countries among developed countries, each other. America blame on European countries on this common agriculture policy. You, Europe, America said, you, Europe, it's not fair. You subsidize your agriculture products. Yes, surprisingly, what they're fighting on? They're fighting on the agriculture sector. Liberalization in the agriculture sector. America say, you, Europe, you have CAP. You give subsidies to your farmers. That's why your products cheap. It's not fair. European countries, EC at that time, European community say, you America, you have lots of subsidies to your farmers. So they're fighting. So they fight because of that. Uruguay round never completed. Never ended. Always missed the deadline. There's a saying in English, at the 11th hour, there's a saying. The latest possible moment. Okay, usually, always, the Uruguay round was launched 86. They had a deadline of December 31st. (1986), 1987, December 31st, 2359. 1988, 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992, finally 1993, the last one. Same, I don't want to type many times. 1993, at the 11th hour of 1993. Each 11th hour here, 11th hour here, 11th hour here. December, which is what? 1993, 12, 31, 23, 59. That's the deadline. Before the new year. So finally, they agreed. Okay, we KIV, we settle our differences later. We KIV first. Let's meet in Marrakesh. Marrakesh. Marrakesh, Morocco. Morocco. April 15. That's the agreement. Remember 93, 1994. Meeting in Marrakesh. Two outcomes. 100 over countries signed the final act. Embark the results of the multilateral GATT negotiations. Number two, they agree there to begin a new forum for trade, for negotiation. Of course, negotiation always negotiations. Trade liberalization. What is liberal? To reduce, open up. This new forum is WTO. To begin, 1995, 0101. The two things. No, sorry. Marrakesh Agreement. Treaty or agreement. This in Marrakesh, the creation of World Trade Organization to begin. Geneva, Switzerland. Marrakesh is an important place for the meeting. Marrakesh Protocol, the establishing the WTO. So, what's the difference? Get WTO. Get has to do with only merchandise. Merchandise. In other words, only, we're talking about only goods But new with WTO, the negotiation only on to reduce tariff. Yeah, of course. When I say negotiation to reduce tariff, this on merchandise, which is goods. Same thing, okay? When I say merchandise, goods, same. As well as services. Services. This is new with WTO. Because trade, not only goods, trade also services. You study in Malaysia, there's trade already. Services. Management consultant from America coming to do consulting to build something, to build a dam. Japanese or Korean came to Malaysia to do consultant on how to build a factory for car. You pay money. It's service. Trade already. Tourism, it's also trade. Banking, also trade in services. Services are banking that you pay. So basically, services. Wow, rather than talking. Trade in services. So do not think trade as only material goods that you can hold, you can eat, you can ride like a car. Also services. Including service provided through foreign affiliates and established abroad. What are the sectors? Construction, accounting, distribution, engineering, environmental, health, legal services also. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Information technology. How much? What are the barriers? Natural barriers, geographic, non-tariff barriers. What's the value in the world? The value of merchandise, which is good merchandise, 25 trillion. Service, 6 trillion. About 4 times less. But it's a big number. 6.8 trillion, 6 times 4, 24. So 4 times. Services, merchandise compared to services, merchandise 4 times larger. That is not small. 6.8 trillion US dollar. So what is new? And service, number 1. Number 2, intellectual property rights. Intellect rights. You know, trademark. For example, trademark. Suppose this is Rolex. I don't have the watch with me. Rolex. You know, I can buy Rolex very cheap. 50 ringgit Rolex, maybe 100 ringgit. I can buy. So of course, that's not original Rolex. Counterfeited Rolex. So the world needs this intellectual property right regulation that countries practice and uphold. In the past, this is the saying goes, and it was true. If something comes out in the global market, Adidas or whatever brand, handbag usually handbag, women's handbag. I don't know the name, Prada, Pravo, or whatever the name. You can buy it today in London. You can buy it today in New York. Today in New York, London, Tokyo, the original. Next week, you can buy it in Thailand. You can buy it in Malaysia. The same handbag, the same name. Of course, not the same handbag. The copycat, the copy women handbag carrying the same name in just 1 week or 3 days. And usually, sorry to say, of course, they hide it. Of course, not mentioned made in where, but mostly made in China. Tomorrow come out this product, next week China already produced with the same brand name. If this Dunhill, if this is what, wallet, you know, Rolex, whatever. So it's very important to have that intellectual property right. So this new third, what is new? Investment liberalization. Not only trade, all above. Only, yeah, there already. Yes, I can write again, but it's same already inside there. Goods or merchandise only, same above. Or merchandise only. But this one, investment also, liberalization, to open up. For foreign companies. And last one, important, number 4, it is an institution. Whereas this is only agreement, not institution. Only agreement. So this, because of GATT, deduction on tariff, important role played by GATT to reduce tariff that facilitated the growth of international trade rapidly. Because of growth in international trade as engine of growth, we saw the golden years, 50 to 73. And quickly, this is already we discussed. First oil shock, inflation, the world economy went down. Second oil shock, and in 1997-98 there was a financial crisis in East Asia that started with the Thai baht losing the value. So Central Bank of Thailand must support Thai baht from going down by creating demand for Thai baht by buying Thai baht using the reserve that Central Bank has, dollar. So selling dollar in order to buy baht. Why? To support the baht, to prevent the baht from going down. And that happens to many countries, spread from Thailand to Malaysia to Indonesia to the Philippines to Singapore to Hong Kong. But the four countries, Thailand borrow from IMF, Indonesia borrow from IMF, and Korea borrow from IMF. Malaysia did Malaysia way, Dr. Mahathir at the time, capital control and pegging the ringgit. So it was unorthodox, but successfully. And then, so we have to stop here. So continue next week. Thank you for coming.
Okay, I'll stop the recording, Professor. Would you share the text to us? The file that you were making just now.
Nobody was scanning, so I stopped. Try again, thinking that nobody can see.
Okay.
I was waiting for 1 minute. Nobody signed it. So I stopped it and started.
Okay. Again. It's interesting.
Here's the thing that we don't know on Teams. I don't know what you're seeing. Somebody, during the pandemic, this Chinese guy, his name, I forgot the name. He became so rich. And he's rich until today. Zoom. You know, Zoom?
Zoom?
Yeah, Z-O-O-M, Zoom. Become the platform for online whatever. as a result, that gave competition to Google Meet. And what happened to Skype? I had a video I put on my YouTube in the playlist. What happened to Skype? Skype was the beginning of how you can, discuss to meet online.
I'm not so sure about the history of the start and the stop story about Skype, but I've been using that about 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Skype no more popular. People use Zoom. Zoom by whom? Because of the Zoom. By?
But Zoom, if we don't subscribe the premium, the time duration for each section is only 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not that convenient. I prefer to use Microsoft Teams to conduct the meeting, or Skype.
Yeah.
Or Google Meet.
Chinese guy.
But in China, if I use Google Meet, the internet is quite unstable. This manager.
This is a Chinese American citizen of Chinese origin. He make a lot of money because of the COVID-19 lockdown. That's what I want to tell you.
Oh, he used to study in China, I find.
Really?
You find Eric Yuan, Airman, Shandong University of Science and Technology. Shandong University was a prestigious university in China, especially in the science affair.
Okay, take me there. I want to visit.
It's okay. You know what? Actually, it has many districts like UKM, like Chorus, Kuala Lumpur, and also Bangui, like 3 districts. So, about Shandong University, we have that in Weihai. Weihai is very near to Korea, so many Korea are resident in Weihai and Yantai. And for another place is Jinan, which is the capital of Shandong province. But I personally never been to the Shandong University in Jinan district.
I want to go there.
I want to reside in Weihai. I think Weihai is a good city with a good what is that? With good handling, yeah. Good handling. The city and the road looks good.
Born in China.
And one of my friends studying in Shandong University in Weihai district.
So he's now rich because of COVID-19 lockdown. People cannot go out. Everything is online. Class online, business online, using Zoom.
Okay.
So
before you speaking of Zoom, I was thinking that you are going to talk about virtual currency, because I heard many people become rich because of virtual currency.
I don't know about that. Okay, design it. Mutual currency? What do you mean, mutual currency?
A variety of coin like Bitcoin and etc.
Yeah. It was going up. Now it's some of them going down.
I would like to know who mute me.
I don't follow the story of Bitcoin, so I cannot tell much.
Yes.
Yeah, I only know, it was some craze on the wave of Bitcoins, because Bitcoins, there are so many names, so many companies there. Ethereum, I know that much only. Ethereum. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, uptrend wins. Seven years. See? Cryptocurrency, yes. That's the word. Cryptocurrency. Expectation is 7 years. One day go the news. Ethereum will go down. I don't follow cryptocurrency, and I don't buy cryptocurrency. I don't think I have time to do anything about cryptocurrency. I'm too busy with reading, teaching, must do research, and must write.
Yes.
Okay, everyone, I think we have 40 already signed a QR code. I'm gonna wait until 4 more minutes. We're supposed to have 43, 3 more people.
How could we mute people?
Say it again. How?
How could we mute people? Mute them on microphone.
Oh, there's a.
Because sometimes when I'm in Microsoft Teams, someone would mute me, and sometimes I think it's professor. Sometimes I don't know who that is out of nowhere.
I don't know. I didn't do anything. I'm
Yes,
just
yes.
too busy with the material.
Yeah, during your lecture, I found many times people try to mute me, but I don't know who that is.
I don't know. Maybe you're.
At the first time, I thought it was you, but then I found you need more time to sort with the settings on computer, so maybe it's not you.
Yes, not me. I never have time to do that. I'm
Yes.
too busy with the slides.
Yes.
So anyone else? Why don't you show your face? These people, I want to see you. We have 15, 12 people. Show your camera. Turn on your camera. I want to see you. I want to know. By the time you graduate, you go to the convocation. I don't know. That was my student.
Okay, I will go. Bye-bye, Professor.
Even though I attend and sitting in the convocation up front on the stage, I don't know that was my student because we never met each other. And more, you never turn on your camera except during the taking pictures. When I take pictures, only at that time those who show the camera will be there. Otherwise, in a very short time only.
I think not only you class, other lecturers and Chinese people are very shy to show their face to other guy.
No need to be shy. We need to know each other. We come across walking on campus. I don't know that's my student.
We are okay to share your pictures actually, but we know one thing exactly that you will share on all your social medias.
Yeah, but lately I never shared because no time. I have so many pictures which are backlog. Not yet shared, not yet shared because no time really. We'll have to sit down and put. So before that, I'll do before I transfer the pictures to other, clear up my phone to file to pen drive. So why did you turn your camera? I can see this 11 people, 10 people. Turn your camera, please. When I attend convocation, I know this is my student. Yeah. Okay, now how many? $41. Two more.
Maybe not wake up.
Not wake up.
Maybe not wake up. Yeah.
Not wake up yet.
I think you show the QR code 5 minutes is enough. More time they don't wake up. You just wait and nobody scan. It's waste time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You are correct.
Okay, see you, Professor. Good day.
Good day. Good day. You're
Yes.
going to your another class or lunch.
I'm not so sure about what to eat during my lunch. And I'm still compiling through the file, like the hosting scripts for some hosts.
Compiling to the file. Not clear. What are you saying?
Compile the file like the host script for the hosts in the upcoming event.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, have a good day. I will finish at 11:20. 2 more minutes.
Okay.
Hopefully the 2 people more will scan the QR code. I'm being nice to them to make sure they scan it.
God will bless you for your benevolence.
Yeah. Amen. So Shandong. Yes, I want to visit Shandong. A good university.
Okay, I was also taking screenshots just now.
Screen what?
I was also taking screenshots,
For what?
snapshots
Uh-huh.
about what you said just now.
What did I say?
Because you said about Shandong University.
Oh, yeah. I learned from you all today. From you. Shandong is a good university, so I want to visit.
Oh, Shandong University, not a Shandong good. Shandong is a university. Shandong is a province.
Oh yeah, the whole thing. Shandong University, Shandong. And in Malaysia, we call it the nuts, peanuts, Shandong peanuts. Big one. You buy peanuts in the packet. Nganyin, the hand pictures, peanuts. You know, you eat peanuts, ground peanuts. There's a Shandong peanuts. Big one. Small one we don't call Shandong peanuts. Oh, yeah. Okay. This one.
Okay, I'll go, Professor. Talk next time.
Yep.
Okay, good day.
Okay, now it's about time. I'm gonna turn off right now. 8 people. Who are these 8 people? Update myself. All right. Okay. Anjali. Just sign in. One more. One more person. Okay. Okay, thank you all. We end here the meeting. See you next class. Thank you.
Thank you.
masya Allah, betapa cantiknya Allah.